Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play Crusader Kings 2 Irish Spring. This is the tutorial-esque Let's Play that we're doing right now that is designed by me with a focus towards helping people who maybe are just starting with Crusader Kings 2 to kind of get their feet going on the ground. Get their feet under them on the ground so they can get going and have fun with the game. Because Crusader Kings 2 is a game that I feel like a lot of people are very interested in, but they take one look at the screen and they get into it, and there's just a myriad of things that can happen where you don't really understand why things happen. And I'm trying to kind of give at least a little bit of a roadmap towards why things happen and what can happen and what to do. So, let's catch up. Let's see where we are. So, we have title loss on succession right now. So, if we die, if this guy dies, King Brian of Mumu, which we're not actually a king, we're a petty king, so that is basically a duke. If we died right now, we would lose the county of Lagan right here and the county of Desmumaine down here. And the reason for that is because of our succession law, which we can see under laws and inheritance. We can see that we are currently agnatic, cognatic, gavelkind, which this what this means, agnatic, cognatic. We've went over this before, but just to cover it again, it strictly relates to the gender of the person that's inheriting, and then gavelkind dictates how it gets spread out. So if you're gavelkind, what happens is basically all of the titles that you hold get split up amongst your eligible children. So generally females cannot inherit unless there are no male heirs, unless you are absolute cognatic, which most of you are probably never going to see the absolute cognatic gender law until you get quite far into the game, so don't really worry about that too much right now. Anyways, so yes, we are in a situation right now where if we died, which we're only 39, so chances are we probably won't die right now, especially seeing as how we do have the hunting dog, which gives us +1 to health, and we are our hunting focus, which gives us an additional +1 to health. So we're right now +2 to health, and we don't have any major health issues. We're not stressed or anything like that. So chances are that we won't die, but there is always in Crusader Kings 2, there's always a chance, but it's highly unlikely. Anyways, so yeah, we have to kind of keep an eye on that. The children that are not our primary inheritors are 6 and 3, so they're still pretty young. When they come of age, which is 16, we do have ways that we can deal with the issue. And so we'll just kind of have to consider that. That's probably what we're going to do. We're going to probably try to wait out until they're older and then appoint them as successors for bishoprics, which will disqualify them from inheritance. That is the way that I would like to deal with it. But if something happens and we end up getting sick, then we may have to take more drastic measures. So we can dismiss this for now. We have a decision available to extort subjects because our ambition right now is to make a war chest, which we don't really want to do because it's tyrannical. So we're not gonna do that. It's 28th of October, 1087. We have a decent amount of gold, but we probably don't want to spend any until we hit 500 gold, so we can go ahead and get that ambition out of the way. What claims do we have? We've got a claim on Osrage. I think it's this guy here has the claim. We have a claim on Dublin. We have a claim on Argyll, Eogain, and Tir Trunail. A lot of these are not our claims. A lot of these are claims that are from people that we invited to our court. If I remember correctly, we married one of our daughters off to somebody who has some strong claims. So we could press these strong claims right now, but what it would do is it would just put him in charge. So instead what we want to do is we want to wait until they have a kid, and that kid hopefully will inherit those strong claims, and then because he would be of our of our dynasty, we could press it then. Anyways, so we are thinking about attacking Osrage The only problem that we have right now is that Ostrage is allied with Gwynedd over here. And Ostrage by himself is not very big. However, if you add in his militaristic might with Gwynedd, they're pretty formidable. We are bigger than both of them, but not bigger than both of them combined. So, and I don't really want to spend money on mercenaries at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the waiting game here. And we are going to wait until either this guy dies or this guy dies. And that will render their alliance null and void. And we could attack without having any sort of a problem. So I think at this point what we're kind of doing is we're just in a holding pattern. We're kind of waiting on, basically just waiting on things to happen, which is definitely a part of Crusader Kings 2. Crusader Kings 2 is often a game of waiting and then reacting. But you have to know what's worth reacting to and what's not worth reacting to. And that just takes time, takes practice, or, you know, watching other people. Petty noble for Marrakech spent a week visiting Tuadmamain, constantly bragging about his wealth and the states back home, insulting his local peers and behaving like royalty. Your courtiers are quite sick of him and are asking you to take action. So the reason that this is happening is because we have open borders with Marrakech. So we have two options available to us. We can write a formal complaint to this Almoravid Sultanate down there. We would gain 50 prestige, and then he would get an event. We can ignore this, but then our courtiers won't like this. I'm going to go ahead and do this to gain some prestige. There is a chance that it could make him angry, but since he's so far away, I really don't care. Dear King Brian II of Mumu, I feel insulted that the first thing you do is accuse my people of being ill-behaved. Did you ever consider that he may be a fraud? Of course not, you Irish spider. All the best, Sultan Yusuf of Almoravid Sultanate. So we can say, what nerve, this changes things, which would break our non-aggression pact. Or we can say, I will let this go for now, we lose 200 prestige. We'll just break our non-aggression pact, that's fine. These guys are really far away, and you know, we really just took the non-aggression pact because it popped up. So we'll just let it go. They're not really close to us, so we're not really in a situation where they're probably going to be holy warring us. At least I wouldn't think so. Okay, we have a child here who lacks a focus. So this is a courtier. He has a lisp, he's affectionate, he's an idolizer, and he's timid. Looks like we probably were giving him a learning focused education. Yeah, so we're probably just going to keep going down that direction. And then what we would like to do here is we would probably like to shape this timid into content. So let's give him a content educator so that maybe they can intervene on that and make him content. We'll go ahead and go with Irish. Donchad. Yeah, that looks good. It's always good to have some content people around in your court, because when you have to give out titles, you'd really like to give them out to content people, because content comes with it a plus 50 opinion just because they're happy, they're content people. Message about arranged marriage, huh? This is the county of Berwick, so that's Brittany, I think. Yep. They propose that Gwethanok Mab Ioselin and Imag Nick Ruidri, who is just a courtier, who has a strong claim on Tir Chonail. So we probably don't want to let that go. So we're going to decline. Ideally, what we would do here is we would marry her to somebody. We would go ahead and marry her to somebody in our court that's going to be hanging around for a while. Probably not one of our sons, but let's see who we have. Ideally, maybe even somebody content. Kinsmen. We have lots of kinsmen, cousins. You know, we could do that. We could marry her to a cousin. Yeah, maybe a cousin that likes us. Like this guy. Concobar. MacLorkin. He does like us. He is content. Let's just, yeah, we'll just... Oh, he's the heir to a bishopric. Really? Okay. And I think, since he likes us so much, why don't we change this then? I think our reasoning there was to try to put somebody in power as a bishop who liked us. So maybe they would give us some taxes versus giving it to the Pope. But we can just go down here to Senetig, who is the next one up, and set him up to take over. As you can see right now, most of our bishops don't really like us compared to the Pope, so they're giving the Pope all of their tax money. We would like to have that tax money. So, if at all possible, it would be very, very nice to have the tax money. But we're not going to like jump through hoops of flame just to get it either. There are a few different ways that you can improve how your bishops feel about you. However, I don't think that they're worth it. Generally speaking, I don't think they're worth doing. I find that it's just best to let the bishops passively grow to like you more over time. And then if you get their tax money, you get their tax money. If you don't get their tax money, then so be it. Okay, this is another courtier. He is only 5 though, so we're picking his childhood focus. Let's go humility. Try to see if we can make some more content courtiers. Okay, it looks like we need to set another childhood focus. This is our son, our 3rd son. Let's, I'm not sure, do our bishops, I don't think they have to have, yeah, they don't have to have a learning education to become bishops. So, you know what, let's go humility for him too, and we'll see if we can make him content. Birth of the Assassins. Word is spreading that a Shia missionary, Hassan-e Sabah, has founded a religious order known as the Hashishin, somewhere in western Persia. Using trickery and guile, this mysterious cult of trained killers has seized control of the mountain fortress of Alamut and converted it into their headquarters. Already, a string of violent murders can be traced back to Hassan's devoted and fearless disciples. These hashish smokers are harmless. Well, I know that there is something to that event, but it's never... Probably because I have not played as a Muslim character enough, I've never really dealt with it, so I can't really give you any more background into what exactly that entails. I would imagine it just maybe means it's easier to assassinate people over in the Muslim world. I don't know. King Brian II of Mumu fulfilled the ambition to build a war chest, so because we are a duke, the ambition to fulfill a war chest requires us to have 500 gold in our coffers. And now that we have completed this ambition, we will be getting a buff, you can see right here, to our war taxes. So for 3 years, we will be getting an additional 10% national tax modifier. Do we have any valid ambitions? We do, to become King of Ireland. We will take it. And what's our Chancellor doing? Trying to fabricate in Sildara. Okay. So maybe, just maybe, our Chancellor will be able to fabricate a king level title there. That'd be really good. So why don't we spend a little bit of our money on upgrading the county that we have no chance of losing. That way, if we do lose the other counties, hopefully it'll put us into a position of power versus everyone else. So let's do... Well, I guess let's do this militia training ground. It's a pretty cheap upgrade that gives you a lot of sort of low-grade troops. A daughter was born to Gruffed Apsinnen and Tamer Nick Bryan named Muirn. So this is my granddaughter, who, okay. Good. Okay, so that host that we saw that's been around for a long time finally succeeded in their war, and they usurped the title County of Tir from Aid Macruadry. So what that means is basically this guy who raised up all these troops now has taken this county. It's actually kind of a bad thing because he gets to keep all of those event spawn troops that he has. So as you can see from looking here on his page, you can see it says 1,311 army levies, which doesn't sound that bad. However, if you look under the next section where it says army levies, you can see right now he doesn't even have any levies from his personal domain, and that's because his holding that he just took over was completely sieged out. And he won't be getting any levy contribution until it gets restored. So he has 1,300 troops without even having anything from his domain. Most of his troops are actually from his event that spawned, and he gets to keep those until they go away. Now, they will not regenerate. However, it's pretty nice because he just gets those troops. He doesn't have to pay. I don't think he has to pay any maintenance fee on them, and it's just going to make him tougher than your average earl would be in Ireland. So I would imagine once he gets his full levy from his domain, we'll be looking at an earl with over 2,000 levies, which is pretty strong. A daughter was born to Fursu, so this is my actual son that's going to be taking over. And Fresend de Leche, named Snes. I like the name Snes. Oh, she's a genius. What about him? Of course not. So she's a genius. He's not a genius. Always seems to work out that way. Says we can press 1 week claim, County of Tir. So we could actually press a weak claim up here. However, all of these people who we could press it for, none of them are landed within our kingdom. So what would happen is the title would change hands. These people would leave our court. They would like us, but we would not be growing any bigger because of it. So really, there's not a whole lot for us to gain there. So we're just going to dismiss that for now. Now, if we were to give them a county and then press that claim, then they would take this over. But because they were landed inside of our petty kingdom, they would become a part of our duchy. This guy is trying to arrange a marriage, but he is a part of a revolt, so we're going to decline. Who is this? Oh, this gal again. Or is this a different gal? Different gal. Ooh, wow, look at her scores. Her scores are super good. You know what? Let's marry you. Let's marry you, or let's betroth you to my second son. Yeah, I think that's it. She's got really good scores. Her stewardship's a little bit low, but that's okay. Okay, my liege, since I've arrived at Tuadmumain, there has never been a shortage of soldiers reinforcing the troops stationed there. Under our guidance, they believe fame and fortune awaits them, so we will get an additional reinforcement rate of levies for a certain amount of time. My liege, peasants attacked me while collecting taxes in Tuadmumain. They wounded me severely, and I barely escaped their wrath. So he is wounded. Poor guy. And we'll lose some prestige. Uh-oh, what's this? Righteous imprisonment. So what this is an alert that pops up whenever somebody inside of your kingdom does something that is dishonorable, basically. Something that validates imprisonment without incurring tyranny. This can be pretty powerful because people are always doing just like shady stuff inside of your kingdom. And this can be a good way to imprison somebody who has land that you want. This can also be a good way to imprison somebody and then you can ransom them back out. Now, they will hate you because you imprisoned them. However, it can be a good way to get some money. So you can also imprison people and then banish them, and then you take all their money. But I believe that is viewed as tyrannical, unless you have a very specific reason. So let's see, who is this guy? So this is my courtier, married to Marguerite. Weak claim on Tir Chonail. Is there? I mean, we have to think here. Is there really any reason that we would want to imprison this guy? Well, we have a 92% chance of success, so we probably would succeed. He has only 8 gold. Because he's just kind of like a peasant, we could probably only ransom him for about 10 gold anyways. And that's really, in my mind, it's not enough to really, piss somebody off over 10 gold. He is wanting to kill Natfrach MacRuadry. So I don't really know who that is, but if we want to find out who exactly that is, we go into our Intrigue tab. And we look at known plots, and we can see this is Natfrach MacRuadry. He's a 14-year-old who is betrothed to Dylith Fetch Riss. Oh, really? Are you in our... He is in our court. Okay. Delith Fetch Riss. Well, we don't want him to die because he has a strong claim on Tir Chonail, and he's also betrothed to somebody who has a strong claim on Deobarth. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to say, hey, man, I don't really like that plot, so I'm going to ask you to end the plot. Most of the time, if they're in your court, if they're under your sway, they probably won't refuse you. The times where people will refuse you is when they are not in your court, or if they really dislike you, or if you're not very powerful. They may go ahead and just say, nope, I'm not ending my plot. So, and then in that case, there are other ways to take care of it, like assassination. All right, so we're going to ask them to end that plot, I think, because I don't want that kid to die. Finbar, did you die? He did. He died of an infected wound. Oh, I feel kind of bad. He died of that infected wound he got because the peasants attacked him. So we lost our steward. Okay, so we have to find a new steward. So let's just sort by stewardship. So we have 3 people with a 13. This guy is actually a powerful vassal. So I'm just going to put this guy in because it'll make him happy. And they're all pretty equal since they're 13s. And that should do that. Okay, well, I think we will go ahead and stop there. And in the next video, we're probably just going to keep making some money. And we're waiting right now for either this guy to die or this guy to die. We're also waiting on our own children to grow a little older. We've got one that's 8, one that's 5. They need to become 16 before we can get them out of the succession. Our wife is 39, so she could theoretically still have some children. Although she doesn't like us a whole lot, so that is going to make our chances of propagation a little bit lower. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, if you have any Crusader Kings 2 related questions, feel free to ask them in the comments section underneath the video. I'm more than happy to answer your questions, and if I don't know the answer, then I will promise you I will take the time to find out the answer for you or find somebody who does know the answer. So thank you, and I will see you next time. Game on.